the Premier League might be facing a serious new problem, and his name is João Pedro. Week after week, the Brazilian forward has been making headlines, and the numbers behind his performances are becoming impossible to ignore. In his very first season with Chelsea F.C, João Pedro has already scored 17 goals in all competitions, including 14 goals in the Premier League. But what makes those numbers even more impressive is one crucial detail. Not a single one of those league goals has come from the penalty spot. In a league where many top scorers rely heavily on penalties, João Pedro's goals have all come from open play, making his impact even more remarkable. And the goals aren't the only thing he's bringing to Chelsea. The Brazilian has also added 7 assists in the Premier League, bringing his total to 19 direct goal contributions in the league and 23 in all competitions this season. Those are elite attacking numbers for a player in his first year at Stamford Bridge. Then came the moment that made the entire league stop and take notice. In one unforgettable night, João Pedro delivered a stunning hat trick, his first official one for Chelsea. It was a performance that perfectly captured what he has become this season: decisive, confident, and ruthless in front of goal. And here's another statistic that should worry the rest of the league. Chelsea have not lost a single match when João Pedro scores. That tells you everything about his importance, because right now, João Pedro isn't just another striker in Chelsea's squad. He's becoming the player who changes games, the player who delivers when the pressure is highest. And if this form continues, the message to the rest of the Premier League is becoming clearer every week. Chelsea may have found their new superstar, and the league might truly have a João Pedro problem. The moment that truly announced João Pedro to the entire Premier League came on a dramatic night at Villa Park, when Chelsea F.C. faced Aston Villa F.C. in a crucial battle for a top 4 position. But the night didn't start the way Chelsea expected. Just 2 minutes into the match, Aston Villa stunned the visitors. After a dangerous cross from Leon Bailey, midfielder Douglas Luiz reacted first inside the box and poked the ball past the goalkeeper, giving the home side an early lead and sending Villa Park into celebration. For a moment, it looked like Chelsea could be in for a very difficult evening, but then João Pedro stepped forward. Around the half-hour mark, Malo Gusto made a perfectly timed run behind the defense, beating the offside trap before delivering a dangerous ball into the penalty area. João Pedro reacted instantly, getting the crucial touch that redirected the ball past Emiliano Martinez and bringing Chelsea level. The momentum of the match began to shift. Aston Villa thought they had restored their advantage before halftime when Ollie Watkins finished a well-worked move after receiving a pass from Morgan Rogers. But after a tense review, VAR ruled the goal out for a very tight offside decision, a moment that completely changed the direction of the game. Just before the break, Chelsea struck again. Moises Caicedo launched a long pass toward the left flank where Alejandro Garnacho collected the ball before slipping it inside to Enzo Fernandez. With one perfectly weighted pass, Enzo split the Villa defense wide open, and João Pedro calmly lifted the ball over Martinez to give Chelsea a 2-1 lead. From that moment on, the visitors took full control. Early in the second half, Reece James delivered a dangerous cross that eventually fell to Cole Palmer, who fired home from outside the box to extend Chelsea's advantage. And then came the final moment of brilliance. Another long ball found Garnacho racing forward on the attack. Instead of shooting, he squared the ball across the goal where João Pedro was waiting. With the simplest finish of the night, the Brazilian tapped the ball into the net to complete a stunning hat trick. It was the perfect performance. A comeback, a dominant victory, and a statement night from the Brazilian striker. Because at Villa Park, João Pedro didn't just score goals. He took control of the match and showed the entire league that Chelsea have a new match winner. For any striker who arrives at Chelsea F.C, comparisons with the club's greatest forwards are almost unavoidable. And when it comes to legendary status at Stamford Bridge, few names carry more weight than Didier Drogba. Drogba is widely regarded as the ultimate Chelsea striker, a player who delivered trophies, unforgettable goals, and some of the biggest moments in the club's history. His legacy at the club is untouchable. But when we look strictly at the numbers from a first season, something very interesting appears. In his debut campaign for Chelsea, Drogba scored 16 goals in 41 matches across all competitions. It was the beginning of what would later become one of the most iconic careers in the club's history. Now fast forward to today. In his first season wearing the blue shirt, João Pedro has already reached 17 goals in just 38 appearances. That means the Brazilian forward has officially surpassed Drogba's first season goal tally, doing it in fewer games. Of course, breaking that number doesn't mean João Pedro has matched Drogba's legacy. Far from it. Drogba remains the king of Chelsea strikers and the symbol of the club's greatest era. But numbers like these still deserve recognition, because what João Pedro is doing in his very first year at Stamford Bridge is extraordinary. Adapting to a new club, a new tactical system, and the intense demands of the Premier League is never easy, especially for a striker expected to lead the attack. Yet somehow, João Pedro has managed to do more than simply adapt. He has arrived and immediately started writing his own chapter in Chelsea's history. history. And while it's far too early to place him alongside legends like Drogba, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. Chelsea may have finally found a striker capable of creating a legacy of his own. One of the biggest reasons defenders across the Premier League are struggling to deal with João Pedro is that he doesn't behave like a traditional striker. Most number 9s operate in predictable ways. They stay close to the center backs, wait inside the box, and rely mainly on crosses or through balls. João Pedro is completely different. What makes him so dangerous is his ability to combine the instincts of a classic number 9 with the intelligence of a number 10. When Chelsea build from the back, João Pedro often drops deeper into midfield to receive the ball with his back to goal. His hold-up play allows him to protect possession, draw defenders toward him, and bring teammates into the attack. Instead of simply finishing moves, he frequently starts them himself, but the moment defenders step forward to challenge him, he creates another problem. His movement off the ball becomes almost impossible to track. João Pedro constantly drifts across the attacking line, pulling center backs out of their positions and opening spaces for teammates. One minute he's dropping into midfield like a playmaker, and the next he's making a sharp run behind the defensive line like a pure striker. That hybrid style, part number 9, part number 10, makes defensive marking extremely complicated. We saw a perfect example of this when Chelsea F.C. faced Arsenal F.C. at the Emirates. Even though Chelsea lost that match, João Pedro caused constant problems for defenders like William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhães. Throughout the game, he dragged the center backs into uncomfortable areas, linked play under pressure, and gave Chelsea a reliable outlet whenever the team needed to escape Arsenal's press. He used his strength to shield the ball, his intelligence to find space, and his movement to disrupt the defensive structure. And that's exactly why defenders hate playing against him, because João Pedro isn't just a striker waiting for chances. He's a forward who creates chaos across the entire defensive line. The transformation of João Pedro this season has been nothing short of remarkable. At one point earlier in the campaign, his scoring record looked respectable but not extraordinary. Then suddenly, everything changed. In his most recent run of matches in the Premier League, João Pedro entered what many analysts now call a goal explosion phase, scoring 10 goals in his last 11 appearances. This type of scoring streak is usually associated with the league's most elite finishers. Naturally, comparisons started appearing. One of the players mentioned in the conversation is Viktor Gyökeres, another forward known for his explosive scoring output in European football. While their playing styles are different, the comparison reflects the level João Pedro has reached in terms of goal production during this period. A major factor behind this improvement has been the tactical influence of manager Liam Rosenior. Under Rosenior's guidance, João Pedro has been used more as a pure central striker rather than a hybrid forward. His role is now much more focused on staying inside dangerous scoring zones, increasing shot volume, and prioritizing high-quality finishing positions. The tactical instruction was simple but effective. Be closer to the goal, take more shots, and think less about deep build-up involvement. The results speak for themselves. João Pedro's shot frequency nearly doubled compared to earlier in the season, and his expected goal quality per shot also improved significantly during his time at Chelsea F.C. More importantly, his career in English football is now showing clear upward momentum. Across his previous seasons in the league, João Pedro had scored a total of 13 goals combined.